Hey everybody, it's Tyler with Tyler Talks Travel Trailers here at Albuquerque RV in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where we are about to tour a 2026 Flagstaff Microlite 21 FBRS. A couple things I want to touch on before we get into the tour is, if you don't know, Flagstaff has different levels to trailers. So it'll go Flagstaff E-Pro, it'll go Microlite, Superlite, and then Classic. But the main thing I want you to know is that no matter which trailer you go with, it's going to be the same quality of construction. Flagstaff has a very high quality construction with their cabinetry, their aluminum framing, their outer walls and inner walls. That we'll get into all that. So no matter which one you go with, it doesn't change the construction or anything like that. But what it does change is mainly the size. So if a Flagstaff E-Pro is just a little too small, they're 7.5 feet wide, you would want to jump up to this one, which is 8 feet wide. So this is going to be right around 22 feet. Flagstaff E-Pro goes up to like 21 feet. So it's just a foot bigger. Also, it's 8 feet wide instead of 7.5. Also, they make a 22 FBS Microlite, which is another foot bigger than this. So if this is too small, you have a good variation of sizes. Also, I will put the 22 FBS at the end of this video, as well as in the description, so you can check it out. It will have a different slide system. So it'll have a rack and pinion slide, and it'll also be deeper. On this one, you get the trifold sofa. So if you want to accommodate someone and sleep an extra guest, you can do that. In the 22 FBS, it'll be theater seating. So just wanted to point that out. If the E-Pro is too small, jump to this. If this is too small, you got another option. That is going to be the 22 FBS. So Flagstaff gives you plenty of options in lengths and widths. I think this is a perfect layout. It's not super big, still lightweight, and the construction and quality is there, of course. So like always, we're going to do the specs first. It takes me 1 minute to do those specs, and then we'll dive inside. Let's go, guys. So the basic specs on this 2026 Flagstaff Microlite 21 FBRS. Your unloaded vehicle weight is 4,493 pounds. Your cargo carrying capacity is 1,344 pounds, which brings your potential fully loaded weight to 5,837 pounds. Your hitch weight is 557 pounds. Your exterior length is 22 feet 4 inches total. Your exterior height is 10 feet 3 inches. Your exterior width is 8 feet. Your tanks, your fresh water tank is 54 gallons. Your gray water tank is 29 gallons. And your black tank is 29 gallons. Your awning size is 14 feet. Let's jump inside. All right, everybody, now that we got those specs done, we will start with the inside and work our way out. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm going to get into a lot of the features, the options, the construction, everything. Like I always say, I try to give you as much info as I possibly can. And once you're annoyed with me, you can shut me off. But I know how much of a pain it is when you're trying to get a question answered and you can't seem to get it answered. So hopefully I'll answer all of your questions in this tour. Check it out. Such a nice interior on all of these Flagstaffs. We'll do a quick circle around just so you get an idea of the layout. This is going to be an open floor concept, so there is no dividing wall. I personally wouldn't want a dividing wall anything under 25 feet just because it makes it pretty claustrophobic in the bedroom area. And if it's a couples coach, there's just two of you anyway. I don't see the problem of having the open floor plan. But lots of great space in here in the living/kitchen area. You do have your one slide out, which will be on this side. So you do have a push out. When you first walk in to your left, you do have your pantry. So you got a little pantry right here, pretty deep. And what I love about this pantry is they kind of allow you to utilize it however you want. These particular shelves you can remove. So if you wanted to, you can use it as a hanging wardrobe, as you can see up there. Each one of these is going to be 12 by 17 for these shelves. And then it ranges from 16 inches tall to 14 to 15. And if you wanted to remove all of these shelves, you'll have a 12 by 17 and 46 inch tall wardrobe. So a lot of great ways to utilize that space if you have some winter clothes that you want to bring along. And then it comes down to right here. This is going to also be 12 by 17 and 16.5 inches tall. So variations of height, which is good because obviously not everything is the same height. You have a little area right there maybe for shoes, your slippers, things like that. As we move on to the right, you got your 10 cubic foot, 12 volt refrigerator. And I say it every time, I love 12 volt fridges because they cool so much faster and they are a lot deeper. I'm talking within 10, 15 minutes, you'll already feel this thing getting nice and frosty. Whereas the gas electric, you tend to have to put it on the night before. Nice deep freezer. I believe this is 12 inches deep right here. And then you have this top shelf as well. It is deeper also because it doesn't have those metal coils in the back, so it does go back pretty far. If you're wondering, how the heck are you gonna clean this because it's stuck, and how annoying is it that it opens into the door? Well, Flagstaff said, oh yeah, well bam, we'll just build a fridge that opens both ways. And then you can pull this tray out if you need to clean it. So that allows you to take the shelves out, the storage bins out, to wash, as well as if you're loading the fridge, it just makes it easy from the door. You can open it this way or this way. Very convenient. Love that fridge. It is a Magic Chef fridge, which I'll get into that. As we move on into the kitchen area, very nice kitchen, pretty decent counter space, lots of storage, plenty of drawers. A lot of companies don't give you enough drawers. As we work our way from the right to the left, you do have your stove top. But all of this serves as prep space because you have covers on top. All of this can be used as prep space. If you want to know the size you get with the sink and stove down, this whole area is going to be 24.5 by 71. 24.5 by 71 of prep space. But when you're ready to use this stove, all you got to do, well, first you got your knife holder right there. All you got to do is flip this back. Bam, you got your grease backsplash right there, your 3-top burner. Got your fancy dancy lights right there. Full-size oven for a full-size turkey. And this will come down to right here. You can get some extra trays if you want. And if you're noticing a little pattern, you got Magic Chef right there as well. And then when you're done using it, you just bring this down, flip it over, and we'll move on up. You do have your light fan combo right here. As you can see, Magic Chef. It does have an exhaust, so it will circulate. It won't just circulate it, it will blow it out if you're like me and you like to burn food. Your microwave, and again, Magic Chef. So you see the theme here, all good quality appliances, Magic Chef throughout. You got your Magic Chef microwave, light fan combo, stovetop and oven, as well as your fridge. So all name brand appliances, and it's not just pieced together with a bunch of random brands. So good quality. As we move on to the left, I'm gonna say it. Undermount sink, nice big undermount sink. The industry calls it a farm style sink, and someone said, call it a undermount sink, so I did that for you. Move these over. These are kind of like some drying racks right there, but a nice deep stainless steel sink that's gonna be 14 by 25 and 7 inches deep. So that is big enough to actually put pots and pans in. I never considered that until I had a customer tell me that the other day. They're like, sometimes they make these sinks just so small that you cannot fit your pots and pans, just your plates and bowls. So I could see the frustration in that. You can actually get your dishes done. It doesn't have like a pull thing down for the faucet, but it is a metal faucet. If you wanted to, you could replace that, so that way you have a thing that comes down. I like the shades they're doing now. Look at this. There's no string. How nice is that? So no stringless blinds right there. They're the metal ones to keep clean. Up above, you do have, ooh, look at this, check this out. What? Nice touch lighting. That's only on the ones in this area and by the couch. The other ones on the roof, like up here, they're not touch, but you can dim them, and I'll show you. But they're using a nice puck lighting where it's flush with the roof on these 26s versus the round ones they used to use. But I like that touch lighting. It looks good too. Up here you have storage for your bowls, plates, things like that. It's deep, tall. You got 15 by 37 and 16 inches tall for your storage for your plates and bowls. As you can see, this is all real wood cabinetry. It is not paper wrapped, so you're not gonna have to worry about that peeling on you. You also got hidden hinges up above throughout all of your cabinetry. Raised beveled edge, just looks really nice and clean and sleek. One thing you cannot see with this cabinetry is that Flagstaff actually hangs their cabinetry with galvanized steel behind it. A lot of other companies use a thin sheet of aluminum. As you can imagine, what's going to be stronger? And I've mentioned this story a lot, so I apologize if you've heard it, but I actually had a customer who bought a Superlight from me, and it flipped, and everything was destroyed. But guess what was still on the wall? The cabinetry. So I imagine that galvanized steel definitely helped hold up that cabinetry, so it's good quality throughout, even in the areas you can't see. I always point out like this caulking. Look how nice and clean that is. You go in other trailers and you'll see like globs of, you know, putty to cover staples and screws and everything. You will not see that in a Flagstaff. It is just finished super well. You do not see any putty or staples hanging off the wall. If we come down here, like I said, you do have plenty of drawers. This one's for your sponges, double sponge, and then a drawer right here. This is gonna be 13 by 20 and 4.5 inches deep for that one. And then we come down here, you have another one. It's a little deeper, 13 by 20.5 and 8.5 inches deep. And check it out. What? Soft close, baby. They used to only do that like in the classics and Superlights. You have two more drawers right here. One for like your utensils. This one's gonna be 11 by 16 and 4.5 inches deep. And this one will obviously be the same with that soft close. If you are using the stovetop and the sink, this little counter area will be 17.5 by 24. So you can put a drying rack right there, no problem. This area is 17.5 by 24. But if you do need a little more room, well, bam, look at that. You got yourself an extension that is 14.5 by 18. One of the differences from the 22 FBS and the 21 FBRS is over here. It'll be a little longer, so you get kind of like an extension that is also like a desk, and you also get a fireplace right here. So definitely check out that video. Like I said, I'll put in the description and at the end of this video because you will love that layout. It is a hard choice for me to pick which one I like. I'm more of someone that wants something smaller, so I probably would go with this one just because it's a little bit smaller, because I like to get, you know, go off the beaten path. But that will be your kitchen area. I did forget to show you this one down here. This might be good for like pots and pans. I did not measure that one, dang it. Sorry guys, but I'll put my arm there just so you get a reference. So maybe not for pots and pans. It's kind of, yeah, you could put pans in there for sure. Maybe smaller pots, sauce pans and stuff like that. But overall, nice kitchen, plenty of counter space for two, as well as storage. If we turn around, we got your slide out. This will be a 24-inch deep slide, so 2 feet deep, and that's just counting to right here. It does come out a little more with the couch, so 24-inch deep slide to give you a little extra space. Like I said, in the 22 FBS, you'll get like a 40-inch slide, so it's almost double the size. So if you want a little bit more of a slide out, you can. But it's giving you a lot of floor space. Like I did a little measurement here from the cabinetry to the couch. You got 4 feet and 9 inches of walk space. So I'm talking you could be in the kitchen cooking, doing dishes. You can get your partner can get by without disturbing them at all. So plenty of room. I think the slide is perfect. It gives you just enough space without adding a lot of weight to the trailer. Slide outs do add a lot of weight. As you can see, it does have this table that you could kind of swivel around any direction you want. You could even put it like this or like this. But this table is going to be 15 by 30. 15 by 30 for this table. You can take it completely off as well when you want to make it a bed. So you just take this off and it kind of folds flat like a futon. I wanted to show the table more than the bed, but it is 72 inches long. So you could definitely sleep an adult there. If you have a grandchild that comes, you got cup holders right here for those cold snacks. And then you also have cup holders right here for double fisting those cold snacks. Up above, you have storage for all of your maybe board games, entertainment purposes, stuff like that. All the way across, that is going to be 12 by 74 and 8 inches tall. 12 by 74 and 8 inches tall of storage. Just the little details I love about Flagstaff is like even this nice glass inlay just looks nice and clean. You got roller shades on these ones, whereas in the kitchen it was kind of like the blades. And then these windows do open little differently. So these are frameless windows, and I'll show you, but they open this way. So if it's raining or anything and you leave one open, you don't have to worry about water, you know, coming into the trailer. And, you know, you could crack your windows, let some fresh air in, you know, turn on that max air vent if you don't want to run the air conditioner. Even your valances, nice two-tone valances right there that are like a fabric. Pretty nice. And then this is your touch lighting as well for like those reading lights up above the couch. Overall, really nice sitting area. I'll turn you around so you can see where the placement of the TV is, and I will pull it out real quick. So if I put you on the table, I'm putting you on the table right now, that would be the view. It's a little lower, but this will pull out. You could turn it towards the bed. You could turn it towards the kitchen area, and I will show you, but I wanted to pull it out just so you could see. So it's not bad. It is like a little off-centered, obviously, so if you're sitting on this side, you can turn it a lot more than it is. But that is a 32-inch smart TV with all the apps ready to go, and it is also 12 volt. So you got your Netflix, YouTube, Disney Plus, and where's the plug? Probably back there, but you can see it's a 12 volt TV. That means it will run without being plugged into a generator or shore power, and whenever you're ready to drive down the road, it'll lock into place, and then so you don't have to worry about it falling off the wall on you. So we'll put it back a little bit so we can show you the front bed area. So you got a north-south facing queen bed, which people love. I know you guys like that. So you can actually walk around it. On the left side, you got 16 inches of walk room. On this side, you got 18 inches. So you got a little more space on the right side for that walk space. So the nice thing about north-south beds is you can get in and out without disturbing your partner. Or if you're an early riser, or you don't have to roll over your partner to get in and out of bed. This will be the 60 by 74 RV Queen. So they make RV Queens if you're not familiar with RVs. Some will be 60 by 80. I can't remember if the 22 FBS is a true queen. I think it is a 60 by 80, but check out the video at the end or in the description to check that out. You can still buy 60 by 74 queens. There's a lot of mattress companies that will make, you know, RV queens. So like I always tell you, it don't matter what brand you get, these mattresses kind of suck. But at least this is a real mattress. But if you want, you could go out and get yourself an RV mattress that is a little more comfortable than the one that they give you. But look how cozy that looks. Excuse me, guys, sorry. Nice and cozy. You got some reading lights. So just to give you a reference, so this is 74 inches long. You have this area right here that kind of takes to where you can't walk all the way to the top, you know. You got, I'll tell you the length. So you got 56 inches from the wall over there to the edge of this. So that's kind of how far back this goes. It kind of serves as a lot of great counter space or anything like that if you want to bring your CPAP machine. I get a lot of people that need to bring that along to get a good night's sleep. If you do need to, you got plugs on both sides, equal plugs on both sides, and I'll get into the solar and those plugs here in a bit. But if you have a CPAP machine, I feel like this is going to be plenty of storage for it. You got 17 by 29 for this counter piece, and then you got 12.5 inches to this top cabinet. 12.5 inches to the top cabinet, so I'd imagine you could fit your CPAP machine or maybe a little nightlight, 12.5 from that to the top of the wardrobe. You do have USB and USB-C plugs right here. Those are pretty nice because you can use those without being plugged into a generator or shore power. Moving on to the hanging wardrobe, they're the same, so I'll just show you one side. This is going to be 12.5 by 24 and 26 inches tall. So a pretty deep, tall wardrobe to hang all your clothes in. Like I said, they will both be the same, 12.5 by 24 and 26 inches tall. You do have some reading lights up above. Let's see if I can get to them without getting my shoes on the bed. And you got USB and USB-C plugs as well, so you could charge your phone there as well, because that side does not have the USB, but you do get it up there. You almost have wall-to-wall storage up above. This is great for like winter clothes. If you're going to be on a long extended trip and you need to bring, you know, both climates of clothes. This is going to be 16 by 67 and 13 inches tall. for this storage above the bed. As I've shown you before on Flagstaffs, it does have that front windshield. I'm a fan of the front windshield just because it lets in a lot of natural light, as well as you're able to see the view. Look at that. Big skies out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Leave a comment where you're from down below. But don't be too concerned about the front windshield, because I get a lot of people that are like, what if it cracks or anything like that? They do make aftermarket covers for those front windshields, and there's a lot of other companies out there that do it. So if you can get the front windshield, definitely get it. It's totally worth it. And let's keep moving on. We are going to get into a lot of the features and stuff towards the end, so stick with me. The beginning part is kind of more of me just showing you the lay of the land, what this trailer offers. Over here to the front, you do have storage as well underneath the bed. So we will lift this. And this is also going to be a good time to talk about construction. You do have kind of like a little storage area up here in the front. This is going to be 18 by 48 and 9.5 inches deep. So that's pretty good storage right there. Oh, let me grab this real quick. And then you do have drawers down below, 16 by 18.5 and 4.5 inches deep. So you got two drawers right there that are 16.5 by 18.5 and 4.5 inches deep. Maybe for some extra warm socks, your wool socks. Up here, I did want to point this out. So when I lifted this, did you notice that? Look at all of this aluminum framing. This is a 6-side aluminum frame trailer, meaning the front wall, the back wall, both side walls, the roof, and the floor. But Flagstaff is one of the few companies that literally aluminum frames anything you're going to sit on, sleep on, stand on. Everything is aluminum. So most companies, like in this instance, other companies would wood frame this. On the front of the bed, they'd wood frame. Underneath your dinettes, they'd wood frame. Under the bunks, they'd wood frame. But Flagstaff does not cut corners. Like I told you, it's a high quality brand. They aluminum frame everything. So you got to imagine when you go to sit on the front of this, put your shoes on, you know, change your shoes, just sit on the front of the bed. Maybe you're sitting on a dinette. Maybe you're on the bunks. The kids are jumping in and out. How much is that stress going to, you know, affect that wood framing? Because I've had customers where they have dinettes and the kids going in and out, or when they jab their knee into it to pull the shade down, it has cracked, and it is not cheap to fix. And you're also, you know, how long is your trailer going to be stuck at the dealership while they fix it? With Flagstaff, you do not need to worry about any of this being wood. If it had bunks, it would be aluminum framed. If it had a dinette, it would be aluminum framed. So just know that sometimes spending a little extra money might save you money in the long run, as well as time. You know, you can't get time back. What if you schedule the trip and the front of your bed is just cracked in half because of it being wood framed? So just think about maybe spending a little more for better quality, and I think you'll be happier in the long run and you won't have as many issues. That's a huge construction aspect of a Flagstaff. You do have a privacy curtain right here. So if your significant other doesn't want to want you seeing them drool while they're in bed, you do have a privacy curtain on both sides that will kind of close it up. And it's not bad. It doesn't feel claustrophobic at all in here with this curtain. You still have plenty of room because it's rounded. So it feels nice and cozy. It doesn't feel bad. I think that is the way to go versus a dividing wall, in my opinion. Now, talking about the roof, the air conditioner, all of that good stuff, this will have a 15,000 BTU air conditioner, and it is ducted. So I always hear people say, oh, it being ducted does not make it quieter. It makes it a lot quieter. Let me show you this, watch. Maybe you probably won't pick it up with my microphone because it's pretty good at, you know, avoiding the wind and stuff, but it is significantly quieter once you close those up, because you have it going through all of these ducts right here, and you can close them, which is cool, and you can also turn them. Might not seem like a big deal, but when you're looking around at trailers, keep an eye out for that. Most companies, they just have to be open all the time, but what if you're in like Arizona and it's a hot state and it is scorching outside and you want to kick back in the bed, you can push all the air, you know, from the bathroom to back here straight over top of you. So I think it's worth having, you know, those open and close. Now, if we're talking about interior height, I told you exterior, but your interior height from the floor to the roof is going to be 6 feet 8 inches or 80 inches of interior height for this trailer. So it does have, it's kind of hard to tell on video, it has a vaulted ceiling, so it is rounded. That's going to give it a lot more height. It's going to make it feel roomy, but also think about when it rains or snows and that snow is pooling up there, you don't have to worry about it staying stuck up there. It'll flow off the rain, help with, you know, potential water damage or anything like that. So it does have the vaulted ceiling and it makes it look really nice in here. Speaking of nice, man, those lights. There's some companies out there that skimp on lights and it's kind of awkward, you know, when you go to show it and the lights, you put the lights on and it's kind of gloomy and dark. You don't get that feeling in this trailer. There is plenty of lights. You can actually see what you're doing. They didn't skimp out on lights. So that is kind of your living room area. You do have your heater, which is nice because they actually ducted the heater as well. And one thing I like about this heater is all your vents are on the side walls. So you don't have to worry about going in and out and tracking, you know, a rock in or something and then it falling into your vent that's in the floor and then driving you nuts in the middle of the night because it's rattling. You still can put covers over those floor mounts, but it's nice that you don't have to because they are on the side walls for the heater. Moving on. Ooh, I like that. I like when they think about, you know, cleaning stuff. Like obviously this is in the kitchen. You can wipe it down. It's going to stay cleaner because it's that metal material. One thing I did want to point out with the solar. So this does have 200 watts of solar and an 1800 watt inverter. I wanted to talk about these plugs. So I'll show you how many plugs you got. You got one plug here. Keep the solar and inverter in mind. You got another plug. Let's see. Where's your other plug? Am I hiding one? Where is your other plug? There's a plug right there. So if you want to put your coffee pot, Keurig, you got a nice place for that. So there's another plug. I like to point out the plugs because I know that's important. You have one plug there and another plug up there. But one thing I want to point out with these two plugs, as well as the one by the couch, if we walk over to this one nice and slow so I don't make you sick, is if we come down here and we look at it, see how it says inverter circuit right there? That means that this plug is hot. It is tied to the inverter, so this plug will work anywhere. You don't need to be plugged into shore power or a generator to use these plugs. How convenient is that going to be if you're out boondocking and you don't have hookups, or maybe you just don't want to pull the generator out because you don't have to run the air conditioner? That is going to come in handy because of that 2000 watt or 1800 watt inverter and 200 watts of solar. It'll make your plugs hot and ready to go at any time. Now, moving on to the bathroom. All right. It would have been cool if there was some way they could have done a pocket door, but I can see why they couldn't. But small little details. I know it's annoying, but look at, see how it's got the raised beveled edge on the door? These little things, keep an eye out for it because a lot of companies aren't doing that. And it just makes it feel a little more homey in here. All right. Let's turn on the lights. Oh boy, you got underglow on your sink like a race car. First thing I always tell you guys to do when you're out looking at trailers is sit on the toilet and see how it feels, because you know, last thing you want is an uncomfortable toilet. This is a porcelain throne, so it's good quality. It'll stay cleaner. This particular trailer, because of the size, I'm more of someone that would rather have more living space and storage than having a bigger bathroom. So I'll show you when we go out what I'd prefer versus the bigger bathroom. So they did angle this toilet, which helps a lot. If we're going straight on to the wall right there, you got 20 inches of knee room. Obviously on this side, the door is a little closer. I am 5'7". Turn you around real quick. Do the flex. I'm not the biggest guy ever. So, you know, got your, that's right-handed people. You could open this too, and that helps a lot as well. You know, you got your left-handed people. So not bad. Can't expect a lot in the size and how much living space you got, given that you have the pantry on the outside, which I'll show you. So, toilet isn't terrible, but something to consider if you are bigger. There is your sink. Like I said, with the race car underglow. Easy access to your plumbing. Not a crazy amount of storage. But there's your plumbing right there. I know you guys like to see that. And then your sink. Not a whole lot of counter space on the sides, but you got a little bit if you need to put your straightener, hair dryer, things like that down. And you got your plug right there. This sink is going to be 8.5 by 12 and 5 inches deep. And then you got your medicine cabinet with your mirror. Pretty standard. Right there. Pull this out so I could talk about it. Now the shower, you do have a solid enclosure with that corner shower. That's going to give you a little more space than if it was just, you know, blocked off. Put this up here. So I will step inside of it just so you get an idea of size and height. I did measure it though, just so you have a more accurate idea. So I am 5'7", like I said, about 157 pounds. And, you know, I could take somewhat of a step for mankind. And then the shower head is actually not terrible because it is above my head. That's good. Sometimes they put it like down by your shoulder and it's super annoying. But it is the wand, so you can pull it off if you need to. Let me turn you around real quick so you can see this enclosure. So, rolls on that track nicely. And then it just magnetically sticks like that. Much better than the shower curtain, because those shower curtains, when you go to shower, they stick to you. And that is annoying. So the shower pan itself is roughly, because obviously it's rounded, is going to be 30 by 30 for the shower pan. And then the height you got in this thing from the shower pan to the skylight, which is nice because it lets in a lot of light. Little more height, that helps if you're taller. You got 6 feet 6 inches of height in the shower. So I always say it, if you're 6'7", you're gonna be able to look out while you're showering. But the skylight is pretty nice. As you can see, it's rounded. So you got 6 feet 6 inches of headroom, or 80 inches of headroom in the shower from the pan to the skylight. There is a little step up, nothing crazy. It's not like a tub. Those tubs tend to have a, you know, almost an 18-inch step up. This feature right here is for all my dry campers. So if you're someone that doesn't want to hook up at a campground, you want to go off the beaten path, what is one of the most important things? Water. And first thing you do when you shower is you waste your water. Because what you do is you start the water, you put your hand out, you wait for that water to get hot, and you're basically wasting it all. With this system, this is called a shower miser. I'll pause right there. What it does is you turn this down, it'll circulate it through the lines, then this turns a grayish color, then you know it's hot, and then you flip it, and then it'll spit the water out. So a really great feature for people that are dry camping. You know, this has a 54-gallon fresh water tank, but it does go quick. So if that's important to you, make sure it has the shower miser. It's like a must. If you're dry camping, this will have that for you. But overall, nice bathroom. The other thing it has is the big fart fan, baby. Look at those blades. 4 speeds. I always show this because you see other trailers out there and they give you this little rinky-dink fan that isn't going to pull anything really out. So this will pull out all that condensation, the smell, whatever you're trying to do. With this fan, it does have 4 speeds, so it will suck out some air. Also, if you want to not have the air conditioner on, you could crack your windows, turn this on, and it will constantly keep the air recycled in this trailer. It does have the rain cover on it, which is nice because if it's raining, you don't need to worry about rain getting in the trailer. But another thing I tell people is it's nice to have the rain cover because when you're going down the road, you can keep this fan on, and then when you get to your campsite, you know, it's not going to be as stuffy in the trailer because you can keep that going while you're going down the road. So that is your bathroom. I didn't show you your linen closet real quick. So, linen storage. pretty decent. You know, just keep in mind this is for two, so you don't need to bring your entire bathroom along, but pretty great storage. It's gonna be 9 by 16.5. Top one is 23 inches tall, and the other two are 17 inches tall. 9 by 16.5 for that linen storage. Ooh, see, and I like the magnets that they use all throughout the Flagstaff. Some companies, they'll just do the magnets like in the kitchen. They use the magnets on everything that you're closing for storage, and it's just a lot better than like the rolly pins that stretch out over time, because last thing you want to do is get to your destination and have all your plates and bowls on the floor broken. So that'll be your bathroom. But like I said, I personally would rather have more living space or storage in the living area. So over here, they do give you that pantry right here. And I think that is pretty important in this unit, because this is going to be the storage that is going to hold a bulk of your food and snacks. So like I said, I prefer this idea more for that storage, because where else are you going to put a big portion of your food and snacks in this size of unit? You know what I mean? But overall, pretty nice. We'll talk about some other features at the control panel, kind of show you how some stuff works. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Flagstaff's #1 selling Microlite. Up here is your control panel. You can operate stuff off of your phone. It is all Bluetooth with indoor, outdoor speakers as well. So you can hook up your phone, have some music going, and then you got your bedroom lights, interior lights. But the main thing I want to show you is these tank heaters. So there's ways that you can keep your underbelly heated. If you're not familiar with RVs, pretty much every RV you can go into cold weather with. You're going to be fine. The heaters are extremely good in all of these trailers. When people say like extended season or 4-season, anything like that, it's more of extended season, because most trailers won't have thermo-paned windows. But what they mean by extended season is, yes, you'll be warm, but the main thing that it's doing is it's keeping your tanks from freezing and cracking. So the main two ways is having a heated and enclosed underbelly, also having tank heaters. I love the tank heaters. If I was going for a trailer that was going to be, you know, for cold weather, I would go with the tank heaters all day long, just because, for one, you can keep them running while you're going down the road. So if you have your tanks filled, and let's say you're driving through Colorado and it has freezing temps, what are you going to do? Like, unless it's enclosed, that might help a little bit, but you can't keep your heater running the whole time while you're going down the road. That is just not safe. With the 12-volt heat pads, you can. It's obviously not dangerous to do that. And the great thing about Flagstaff's 12-volt heat pads is that they're smart heat pads. Not every company does smart heat pads. So when you're going down the road, you know, maybe you're getting out of your freezing temp state, it's going to warmer weather, they'll go on automatically and off automatically. So smart tank heaters are huge. This will have those tank heaters, and it is enclosed underneath as well. That's one difference from an E-Pro to a Microlite, is the E-Pro will not have an enclosed underbelly, but it will have the tank heaters, so you will be able to use the E-Pro in cold weather as well. It's just this one you get an extra barrier by having that the 12-volt heat pads. It'll kind of keep that heat in there on that underbelly. So just keep that in mind. If you do buy a trailer and it's not enclosed and heated, most places you'll still be able to use your trailer in cold weather because the heaters are so good. What you'd want to do is maybe bring water along. Like if you're a hunter and you still want to go out and you don't have 12-volt heat pads or an enclosed underbelly, just bring water along, you know, and you wouldn't be able to use like your gray, fresh, or black tank because you could potentially freeze them. This one, you can do anything you want. It is fully loaded. So now my camera's following me. So anytime you see me do this weird sign, it's because it's following me. All right, we'll move on. That was a huge feature. Now talking about travel mode. Travel mode is huge for people. Not everyone, like it's not a big deal to me, but travel mode is a nice feature, a nice thing to keep an eye out for, because if you're going down the road, you want to see what you can and cannot access. So we'll put this slide in. I already know, but I like to show you guys. This is going to be one of the best travel mode trailers you can get on the market, with Flagstaff at least. So check it out. So it's nice to see what you can access. If you're going down the road, you know, you need to stop off at Walmart to take a nap. You don't want to put your slide out. Look at how nice this is. You could still get into the bed. You can still take a nap if you want. Let's say you want to stop off and make sandwiches or anything like that. You still got all your counter space. You can still get to the bathroom, and you got a lot of space. Like, this is a lot of floor space. You can have 2 people walking by right here, making sandwiches, walking by, like, plenty of room. If you have an emergency, you don't have time to put that slide out, well, bam, you can still get to your bathroom and do what you need to do. And of course, maybe if you stop off by groceries, you can easily access the fridge as well. So like I said, perfect travel mode trailer. If that is something that is important to you, definitely consider this one. Another thing I want to point out is when the slide is in, you cannot go sit on the slide, on the couch, on the dinette. Doesn't matter what people tell you. If it's a travel trailer, fifth wheel, you cannot sit on the slide and use it. You need to put the slide completely out. A lot of people get that confused because of motorhomes. You know, people sit on the slides when they're going down the road. Those are engineered to sit on. You got to put the slide out if you're going to use it, because you could potentially damage it, you know, mess something up in the slide system. A lot of times when people have issues with slides, it's user error, I promise. Like, people will be sitting on the slide and then that's what damages it and tweaks it, and then it's not going out correctly. So just wanted to point that out to you because a lot of people get that kind of confused. Now I'll show you, if you don't want all the lights on, you used to be able to turn them off individually, but now you can't. How annoying would it be if you had to keep all your lights on? Don't need to worry anymore. You just push this, and I didn't know this for like 8 years. I'm pretty sure the other ones did that as well. So all you got to do is hold that in and create that ambiance, kicking back, relaxing, watching a movie, reading a book. So you can dim the lights, nice and cozy. The ones by the bed, you obviously won't be able to. You have to turn them all the way off, but the majority of the lights, you can dim them. Pretty nice. So we'll go outside, show you some of the construction aspects out there that are important and some of the features. But overall, let me know what you guys think of this layout. Let me know what you guys think of my tour, and if I'm answering all your questions. I try to give you as much info as I can because I know how annoying that could be. I'm probably the most in-depth guy on the tube, and I'm a full-time sales guy, so you can imagine how busy it gets. One thing I wanted to point out is this actually has the shade already. Every other company, you have to buy this separately, and I like that it opens from the bottom, so if you don't want people peeking in and being nosy, you can bring it from bottom up. Moving on to the front. So you got your electric tongue jack right here. You can do it manually if you need to with the crank, docking lights, 30-pound propane tanks with the solid cover, dual battery box, and your battery disconnect is there. Nice fiberglass cap. And if we do this, look at that. You got your docking lights right there. New decals for 2026. Moving on to the left, you do have the nice luggage latches, or known as the slam latches, versus the twisty ones. Those get old after a while. And the magnet. Look at all of that great storage. Tons of storage. There's your crank for like your tongue jack, things like that. If you need to put it up and down manually. This storage area is going to be 34 by 93.5 and 18 inches tall. That is a lot of storage. You do lose a little over there because of the water heater, I believe. And then your doorway, just to give you an idea, from like the edge of both sides and the top and bottom, you got 14 by 30. So that is the doorway that you get to put stuff in and out. And as you can see, like I said, all aluminum framed, 6-side aluminum framing, as well as underneath your bedding, dinettes, bunks, all that good stuff. And it's got the treated wood. It is not cheap particle board underneath. One thing that they did get rid of that I'm bummed out about is the griddle. Boo! Not supposed to take stuff away. You're supposed to give us stuff. It does not come with the griddle no more. You have to buy that separately. but it does have the bracket as well as the propane line, so that'll tie into the propane. If you want us to, we can order you that. The new thing that they're doing on this layout is I'm pretty positive that on this layout it used to be manual jacks. Now you're getting electric jacks. Look at that, pretty nice. They are not to go and change a tire or lift the trailer or anything like that. It is just to level, or just to stabilize the trailer from moving around when you're walking in it. These are not to level the trailer. You still need to level the trailer if you're on uneven surface. Usually you don't get auto level until you're like in the massive fifth wheels, but it will hit 50 pounds of pressure and then stop, so you don't need to worry about, you know, cranking it too much. You can actually put another solar panel right here if you wanted to. I don't really see people need to do that out here in New Mexico, at least. Frameless windows, like I said, so there's no gasket that you need to worry about cracking and getting brittle, especially out here in New Mexico. You got your plugs for the TV, and then down here, if safety is important to you, this is going to be a lot of safety stuff right here. So for one, you get a Goodyear Endurance tire right off the lot, so a good quality tire. You got Never Adjust Brakes by Dexter. A lot of people don't know this, but you're supposed to adjust your brakes after a certain number of miles. These self-adjust. So if you want to look it up, they're called Never Adjust Brakes by Dexter. The other thing this will have is a TST tire monitoring sensor around the rim, and then you'll get this monitor in your car or tow vehicle, and it'll alert you if your tires are getting too low, too hot. Really nice tool to monitor your tires, because the last thing you want is a blowout. Next thing it has is a torsion axle. So there's no leaf spring there, so it actually is an automotive grade independent suspension. So not only is it going to tow better, but imagine you hit a pothole or you're going on uneven surfaces. How much is that going to absorb the shock being transferred into the frame of the trailer? That axle alone is going to help the longevity of this trailer. And like I said, it's going to be a lot safer to tow and smoother. The last thing it'll have is balancing beads, which increase tire life, reduce maintenance costs, and dynamic balancing. So there is beads in the tires that will keep your tires balanced. So if that is not safety, I don't know what is. You got Never Adjust Brakes, you got a good quality tire right off the lot, you got the TST tire monitoring system, the balancing beads, and the torsion axle. 5 things there for safety. I love it. You do have the solid steps that you just fold right into the doorway, and the nice long grab handle to the bottom step. This is kind of a newer one that they're doing that just goes right against the wall. We will talk about this when we get to the other side. And then you do have your outdoor speakers. So they are Bluetooth, there isn't like a radio. And then it does have the LED lights and the big awning right there. Moving on to the other side, just so you get to see some of the storage. So like I said, this door is a little smaller for that pass-through. This doorway is gonna be 14 by 15. So the doorway is a little smaller because of that water heater, which I wanna talk about here in a second. I just walked completely around the wrong way. It does come with the ladder already from the factory. A lot of these companies, you have to buy it separately. It's really annoying, but you can walk on the roof. Like I said, it's all aluminum framed, so you can get up there, check your roof. This is a TPO commercial grade rubber, and it has a lifetime warranty. So you could keep an eye out on your solar, make sure there's no tears in your roof. Really nice that they give you the ladder from the factory. You got a 300-pound hitch, so if you want to put bikes, electric bikes, anything like that, it does have the receiver, as well as your hot and cold water if you need to rinse off the dog or someone that got dirty. Moving on over here to this little storage, you got a Schwintek slide, and it is all laminated, the sidewalls, the roof, everything. This is a solid slide. Some companies, they're so cheap, you can literally push the walls in. So go do that when you're looking at trailers. You have all of your utilities right here for black tank flush, winterizing, all that good stuff, and a 30 amp plug. There's your gray and black drains right there. And then you have your storage behind the couch that you can access from inside as well. Not a crazy amount of storage, so I didn't really measure it. And then, like I said, this is a 6-gallon water heater. I promise you, I say it in every video, if Flagstaff knew that tankless was better, they would give it to you, because everything else in this trailer is as good as it gets. So a lot of times 6-gallon water heaters tend to not do very good at high altitude. And sometimes when it's super cold, you're gonna have a lukewarm shower, not a hot shower. So it's one of those things where, why fix it if it's not broken? Like I said, if it was better to do a tankless water heater, I promise you Flagstaff would do that. So they stuck with the same one. I like how they painted it this year instead of it being black. And you got your potable water. So 54-gallon fresh water tank, pretty good sized tank. So let's talk about how they make these walls. Those of you that have heard this before, stick with me till the end, because I always like to say bye. But I don't like to skip stuff. I do the same effort on every tour to help people that have never been on my channel. So we're gonna talk about this. The way they make these walls is it'll go fiberglass. I'll turn you around. It'll go fiberglass, then it'll go Luan, then it'll go the rigid block foam, the aluminum, and then your inner walls. Luan is just a thin sheet of wood that goes across the whole side wall. And what happens when wood gets wet? It gets moldy, starts to deteriorate, starts to warp. It literally starts to delaminate. And I'm sure you've seen it out there. Now my camera's following me. Let me stop real quick. I'm sure you've seen trailers out there where they start to bubble, like they start getting wavy. That's because water has literally gotten in the walls and it starts to look like that. See? So this composite material, it's impervious to water, as they say. So it's basically waterproof, and they put that on the outer walls, and get this, they put it on the inside walls too. This is a double layered composite wall trailer. I want you to go out there and see if you could find there is companies that do it, but you'll be shocked. Not every company is doing this. This is double layered composite wall. So you got your outside wall and inside wall. Like I said, they put this composite material in the water for months and months, and it did not degrade. So just imagine how much that's gonna help the longevity of this trailer. These things sit in the terrible weather unless you have indoor storage. It's gonna be in the rain, it's gonna be in the snow. So imagine how much that's gonna help over the time of you owning this. And yeah, just a very high quality trailer. But whew, that was a lot. That was a lot of good information. I hope that helped you guys. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, baby. We are so close to 6K. I could taste it. In a little over a year starting this channel, I am so pumped. One thing I did not mention, God, this gimbal's doing whatever it wants. Every Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I go live where you could jump on, and I won't see you, no one will see you, but you could go on to the live and ask me any questions about RVs, and I could show you trailers. Like, we could tour the whole lot. I go on for 30 minutes up to an hour if I'm getting good questions. So if you're new to the RV world, definitely take advantage of that. It'll be my 6th live this week, and it's turning out really well. I get a lot of good engagement, and it seems like it's really helping people that are new to the RV industry. So make sure you jump on that. Every Sunday, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. The only way I miss it is if I get a customer, because like I said, I am a full-time salesperson, which brings me to my next thing. If you call in, please just ask for Tyler. Our phone number will be down below in the description. The reason I say that is because I am not a full-time YouTuber. I am a full-time salesperson out here at Albuquerque RV. So you can imagine how busy I get. The second reason if you don't ask for me is because we are on a rotating list. So if you don't ask for me, you could end up with another sales guy, which isn't terrible, but I want to help you. I put a lot of work into these videos, so you know, it's really cool to have people call in. Even if you just say hi, I appreciate the videos. It makes my day. I did not expect to get calls from, you know, North Carolina, Virginia, all over the country. It has just blown my mind. But yeah, if you're looking for a very high quality trailer, Flagstaff is the one. Top to bottom, side to side, roof to floor, everything is top notch. You got the 6-side aluminum framing, you got the double layered composite walls, you got solid surface countertops that I didn't even talk about. So instead of Formica, all your countertops are solid surface. Your cabinetry is real wood with galvanized steel behind it. The aluminum frame, everything. It's got the solar, it's got the inverter. Flagstaff does it right, and they take care of their customers, I promise you. So definitely consider a Flagstaff. Go out and see one in person, and I promise you'll be impressed once you go inside of it. Like I said, I'm going to Oregon on Monday. I plan it every year. I'm pretty excited. We're going to go to Depot Bay to go crabbing and fishing. Then we're going to stay in Oceanside. We are also staying in a lighthouse, Heceta Lighthouse. Apparently it's haunted. And we didn't know that until we rented it, so I'm kind of nervous about that. But I will be gone next week, so if you don't see very many videos, that is why. But I got a lot of stuff coming when I get back. We're going to hit it hard to doing a tour every single day, and I appreciate you guys so much. You guys have a good evening, a good night, a good afternoon whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Dang it, every time it's following me. See you guys.